GruntingPixel.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the GruntingPixel, and today I want to talk about Destiny and its new expansion, The Taken King. A bit of disclosure right off the bat, this isn't going to be an info dump. If I were to go in depth with everything that is coming with The Taken King and its preceding patch, this video would be egregiously long. While I will touch on some of the new content, this will be more of a conversation on The Taken King and whether or not it's worth the $40 asking price. So the first thing I want to talk about is something going around the internet, which is the idea that with The Taken King, Destiny will finally be out of beta, and whether that figuratively has any merit. It's no real secret that Destiny launched with mixed reviews and plenty of issues. It was far from a perfect game that underwhelmed more often than not. As a shooter, it was damn near perfect. But with the RNG, progression, balance, pacing, and story missions being all over the place in terms of quality, there was plenty to critique upon its release. As time went on and Bungie patched the game and released new content, Destiny has only gotten better and better. And with all the changes that are coming to The Taken King, a lot of people wondered if this is the version of Destiny they should have gotten at launch. This is a tricky topic as there's no right answer, and I can honestly see both sides. Players expected better than what they had gotten with vanilla Destiny. But at the end of the day, Bungie released a product. If the players weren't happy with the product, then they shouldn't have bought it to begin with. This is only a partial truth though, as even with reviews, it's hard for a player to truly know if they're going to enjoy a product. And for Destiny especially, most of the player base didn't and couldn't know that they weren't going to be happy with the product until they were 10 to 20 hours into it. Bungie and their marketing team set the bar incredibly high for Destiny, but the product they released didn't come close to hitting that bar. Bungie clearly didn't manage expectations nor accurately inform the customers of what they were purchasing. And this type of miscommunication happens all of the time. This can and often does result in spit shining a product and exaggerating in order to make the product more intriguing to the consumer. This increases sales and thus completes the purpose of a marketer. While I am tangenting, I can't blame players for feeling like they participated in a 1-year-long $140 beta. If people on the internet were only saying The Taken King makes me feel like Destiny is finally coming out of beta, then I would be inclined to agree with them. But what I also see are people claiming that this is the Destiny they should have gotten on launch, and that Bungie has ripped them off by making them spend over twice the price to get the game they thought they were buying in the first place. And honestly, it's kinda hard to argue with them. While vanilla Destiny as a standalone product could have been worth the $60 to some, most felt misled and jaded by the product that they actually got, and then would have to fork over another $40 for 2 pieces of DLC and then another $40 for the Taken King expansion. Of course, no one is arguing that they had to buy the DLC, and no one is saying that Bungie actually owes them anything. But you can't blame the player base for feeling that way. How can I blame them when I'm one of the ones who feels like they do? With all that being said, let's look at The Taken King standalone and break it down to see the value of the content versus its price. The first thing you may do is look back at the previous DLC for Destiny and compare and contrast what they offered versus that of The Taken King. Depending on how you value the Dark Below or the House of Wolves, you can gauge what you might expect to value The Taken King at. What separates The Taken King from the Dark Below or the House of Wolves is that The Taken King is much more substantial. While the previous DLC offered new story missions, some new gear, strikes, maps, and a raid, The Taken King has gone further by adding those in larger quantities, new game modes, new features, a complete new arsenal of weapons and armor, a new place-based destination, and a new subclass for the Titan, Hunter, and Warlock. When looking at all that in bullet point form, you may be able to draw a conclusion to whether or not The Taken King is worth the cash, but I think we need to dig a little deeper. With The Taken King, almost all Year 1 gear, which is everything vanilla Destiny through the House of Wolves, will be rendered obsolete. This is because everything coming in The Taken King will supersede all of the Year 1 content, and vastly outdamage and outdefense the Year 1 gear. You can still keep all of your Year 1 items, but they will become outclassed and outgunned, forcing you to adopt The Taken King gear. This has upset a portion of the player base, and I can understand why, but I think that's a topic for another video. When evaluating The Taken King, the question really becomes whether or not a new raid, subclass, a few strikes, a few Crucible maps, a few game modes, and a handful of story missions is worth the $40. This is because you get everything else, the new weapons, armor, features, improvements, balances, etc., whether you choose to buy The Taken King or not. This is the real kicker when it comes to buying The Taken King. Bungie puts all of those bullet points into what is coming with the Taken King, but leaves out that you'll be getting them whether you get the Taken King or not. Only the raids, strikes, story missions, subclasses, crucible maps, and the new play space destination will require the Taken King. Everything else simply comes with the patch. Now, you can't properly and accurately decide if something is worth the price tag without playing it yourself. That is true. What you can do is look back at everything that Bungie has offered in the past, plus what they said they are going to be improving with the DLC, and use that knowledge to make an educated guess. Bungie are good at making raids. They make decent strikes, which are supposed to be seeing significant improvement. They've made fun classes and game modes, and good multiplayer maps. With that knowledge, we can predict within reason the quality to expect from the Taken King in those areas. The only thing we can't accurately predict in terms of quality would be that of the story missions. They have been crap in the past, but have ever so slightly been improving over the course of the past 2 DLCs, and are supposed to be significantly improved in the Taken King. Unfortunately, Bungie's word is all we can go on, and no one will truly know their quality until we play them. If that's the case, then how can we review them? How can we know if they're going to be worth it or not? Unfortunately, we can't. What I can say is, if you're not convinced that the Taken King is worth the price without the story missions, then I can't imagine their addition will make much of a difference. As with the story missions from vanilla Destiny all the way through the House of Wolves, they will likely be a one and done ordeal, where you play through them once for the story and then only touch them again when a bounty calls for their completion. At the end of the day, is the Taken King worth 2/3 the asking price of a full game? It's hard to say. Some people will say yes, and I can see why they would, and others will say no, which I can also completely see as well. I'll be picking up a copy myself so that I can make a follow-up video to this one once I've completed it, so that I can give you all my final impressions on the expansion. So what do you guys think? Do you think the Taken King will be worth the asking price? Or are you going to give this expansion a pass? Let me know down in the comments below. My name has been the GruntingPixel, and I will see you guys in the next video. And for Destiny especially, most of the player base didn't and couldn't know that they weren't going to be happy with the product that they bought. And this type of miscommunication, While I am tangenting, I can't blame players. While I am tangenting, I can't blame players. While I am tangenting, I can't blame players for feeling like they've... Fuck my asshole, just fuck it. While I am tangenting, I can't blame players for feeling like they participate... Fucking so many syllables. But what I also see is people can like... Fuck! But what you can do is look back at everything that Bungie has offered in the past. Plus what they are... Fucking goddammit, I shouldn't have... With that knowledge... With that knowledge,